Aloha again, beautiful souls. I want to talk to you today about breakups and endings of relationship, divorce, and how to thrive and survive at the end, and actually how to find yourself again after that occurs. A bad relationship, just unfulfilling one, something that ended for whatever reason that it ended. There are many different reasons. Mine happened to be because of unhappiness and feeling unfulfilled, but that might not be the same case with you. It could be a move, it could be from the counterpart ending it and wanting something new. So I will share with you what I've done to help myself and to thrive and live again and just be the best person that I can be after a relationship ends. So I want to start off by saying, though, one thing: if you are in an abusive relationship, you need to get out now. You need to find a safe space. And if it's physically abusive, there's different kinds of abuse. There's what I consider mental abuse, and then there's what I call emotional abuse. I don't see those as the same thing, because emotional abuse to me is like my spirit or my soul has been hurt. And then, of course, there's physical abuse. So if you're in a physical abusive relationship, please get help now. Reach out to someone. Um, there's help available. So had to say that first. But if you do find yourself in a relationship that has gone badly for whatever reason, and whatever side you're on, the side that wants the end or the side that didn't want the end, there's things that you can do to get through this time and thrive afterwards. I'm not a doctor. I was a teacher for 22 years, and this is just what I've compiled, research, and things that I did for myself to get through this. Because in the past, when I've been at the end of relationships, I haven't had a good sense of myself getting out. It's like I almost look to another relationship to kind of, just find happiness again with someone else to make me forget what happened. And that I've learned now that is really not, that's going to continue the cycle, because I'm always going to be searching for something that I'm missing in myself. So I decided on this time, it's like, okay, enough is enough. I had to find myself first, and actually finding myself is what led to the end of my relationship. But I will tell you the steps that I did to get better and get happy and to live in love. So, first of all, I found myself a safe space. I went and got into another set I needed, told my family, look, I needed this time for myself. I was actually going through some other things, some hormonal issues. So, taking the time for myself was needed no matter what. I was going through some very deep thoughts of depression, and I had tried to commit suicide in 2015. So some of those feelings were resurfacing, and I knew that, hey, that my warning bells went off, and I was like, I've got to do something, and I've got to do something quick. So how did I get myself out of that? Well, I went into a private space. I started sleeping in a separate bedroom and really limited my interactions as much as possible until I figured out what was going wrong inside me, why I was so sad, why I was so unhappy. But the first thing I did was get into a space, and I have teenagers, so it was easy to talk to them and explain to them. I've always been honest. They knew about my suicide attempt back in 2015. So when I told them, look, I need this, I'm doing this to help myself. I was weaning off hormones. It was at the start of the pandemic, and it was a lot of things happening at once. But when I didn't actually know what was going to happen when I went into my safe space and started doing this thing, what I'm going to tell you that I did. But what ended up happening is I realized that the relationship was bad for me and harmful for me, and then I needed to make change in it or get out of it. So when I got into my private space and personal space, a space that I could feel comfortable and safe in, then I started journaling. Hold on one second. My cat is just coming in here. Sorry. Anyway, I'll continue on. I started journaling, and when I started my journaling, I wrote everything down. It didn't start as it started more as a reflection, a self-reflection. I wrote down what I was unhappy with, how the relationship had been, what I thought a good healthy relationship looks like, and I wrote everything down. I wrote problems that I saw in myself, things that I wanted to change in myself. And when I was did actually started with that, things I wanted to change in myself, and when I started looking at myself and the problems I was having, I realized a lot of my faults or things that I considered issues in myself were actually a response to the situation I was living in. So that is kind of what opened my eyes to problems in my marriage and with my partner. And I actually, when I realized this, I didn't immediately get out. I tried to work on it, and I suggested we were doing all kinds of different things, communication, and all this time I'm trying to work on myself, but I realized I'm not really happy with this person and how I'm treated. So what can I do to make things better? So it was like show our appreciation every day, work on communication. And at first I just kind of sat back and said, well, what can I take and what can't I take? And let me just try to be happy with myself every day. And that went almost a year with, inner work on myself and inner work on trying to improve the relationship, even though the message I had in the beginning when I first went to face my feelings was this relationship is not meant for you anymore. It's time for you to leave. But I fought that. So when I faced my feelings, one thing I did is I really upped my spiritual connection. When I was alone, I really, there wasn't always tears, but there were a lot of tears and asking questions like, what is going on in my life? Why is this happening? I spoke to God a lot um, with those type of questions, and wrote things down, and realized and really came to the conclusion that this is not what I considered a great relationship, and this is not how things should be. So what can I do to change it? And that's what I started, and even though my messages I was getting from God was the message, or the messages were that it was time to let this go and move forward, and that I was meant to do more with my life. I was willing to give all of myself to find a greater purpose, and that's what I was looking for. So when I did that, I realized, the message I was getting was that the relationship wasn't healthy for me, and it wasn't going to allow me to grow to become the woman that I was, I guess, destined to be since childhood. Another pet's coming in if you hear the doors creaking, a dog this time. So sorry about that interruption. But so I faced those feelings. I wrote everything down, and then I really journaled everything. My journal was going crazy. I just held it in my hands all day, pretty much all the time, and just wrote things as they came up so that I could reflect back and look on them later. A part of me, when I went into this, I was kind of being told by my partner that I was crazy, or I was too emotional, that I wasn't really, that this wasn't real, all these things I was feeling. So I really wanted to discover if that was the truth. And the truth that I came up with was, yes, all my feelings are real. They're meaningful to me. They were completely legitimate for the relationship and what was going on in our relationship, which I discovered within that time that my partner suffers from NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, and it was due to whatever reasons that happened throughout his life. That's, his journey. But I, being an empath, had been in relationship with narcissists before. This one was maybe a little bit more I think I knew all along, but I was so strong in the beginning that my determination and the strength of self and that inner warrior in me was able to fight it. And then through the years, I guess it just wore down to where I kind of lost myself. So I'm in this facing my feelings and in this space by myself, really feeling that I am just nothing. I felt like nothing, worthless, that I just had no, I didn't have any confidence. I felt disgusting is the best way. I removed all the mirrors. There was a time there I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I didn't want mirrors in the room. I didn't want to look in the mirror. And I was just holding whatever all this angst and unhappiness on my body, and I could see it when I looked in the mirror. So that's the kind of despair that I felt in, while at the same time I put on a happy face for everyone. I just was, everyone's cheerleader and still tried to stay positive while I was going through all these things with inner turmoil. At the same time, too, I sought out counseling because once those feelings of, thinking about me not being in life, and then I guess it was like, I've always had these visions of myself of the future and seeing myself in the future and what I'm capable of. Like I saw us able to get to Hawaii. Every time we did a move, I could see it happening in jobs. I stopped seeing myself. And that was really scary. So I really didn't like that, and that's what I was trying to get back in counseling and see. And then I realized I wasn't just not seeing myself, I just wasn't seeing myself in this situation, in the relationship anymore. And once I, made that connection, then it was like, okay, I've got to look at that and what's the best thing to do. So I was honest and truthful. I loved this person and still love this person greatly. It was a great love for me, what I felt. The relationship was never in long periods of time bliss or happiness. It was very tumultuous from the beginning, and it got better after we got married, but then it was never really. We were at odds because we were different people. Two different people. Who I was meant to be and who he was meant to be were didn't mesh anymore and didn't connect, and they never really did. It was something I was trying to force to happen. So I was told, and the message I was getting is like, you can't force that anymore. It's time to move on. And that's through looking at my honesty and truth, and, even saying, but I still love him. I had to let him go. I was getting the thoughts of, we're both going to become better people when we release this, because it was more harmful to both our souls than helpful. It got to the point we had gone to this place in Hawaii that was just, we didn't have to work and low bills and easy life, and we could do whatever we wanted each day. And yet we were arguing, and there were tears, and there were constant times where we weren't even talking to each other. I was being ignored, and I was like, that's not what I saw my life to be like. That's not what I saw a relationship to be like. So facing my feelings, writing things down in a journal, being honest with myself, those were three big things that I did to really start this journey to where I'm gaining a stronger sense of self. And with all that, I still tried to work on it. I didn't give up right away. I tried to work on it. I tried to do things. I tried to keep it. I tried to explain the type of things that were making me unhappy. And it's funny because I was hearing on the other end from my counterpart that they were perfectly happy and nothing was wrong. So it was like, okay, so this is my journey. This is something I have to discover in myself. But, so I had to state my truth, and I had to face my truth. And the truth was, I wasn't happy with this person. And I wasn't going to be, because I tried everything that I could. And the counseling was out of the picture, like joint, because they didn't want that. They said no. And I was like, okay, that was it. I had tried for a year. And when I heard that, I was like, that's time. So I started a transformation then. And that's when I was like, I've got to do what I need to do to make myself strongest, to get out and get free and to be who I'm supposed to be. And I first started that 30-day transformation, which I have recorded, where I wrote down affirmations and things I wanted to manifest in my life. And oops, sorry about that alarm. I have to go pick up vegetables. We have a great delivery system here in Hawaii where it's like farm to table, and it's about time for me to leave. But anyway, so I during this time, I really looked to myself, and I deepened my spiritual connection as well. I looked at everything that is around me in the universe. In Hawaii, it was really easy here because there's so many amazing things and so many beautiful things. It's very easy to connect with God and my spirit. It was easy to connect to my spiritual side because it's just amazing and beautiful here, and there's just such good energy and the customs and the culture. So as I'm increasing my spiritual connection, I'm getting a little bit more strength, and I started meditating on things that I figured were my strengths, my psychic sense, my intuition, then also on things about forgiveness and living in love, and really focused on those things. So meditation did wonders for my growth and my healing, my inner healing. I looked on meditation for healing, forgiveness, being an empath, letting go, self acceptance, um, anything I could find that I felt would make me a better woman, I did. And I started looking into the characteristics of a divine feminine and what was that, because I was like, if I am going to be on this earth, and God put me on this earth and He made us each unique and special, then I am going to be the best person that I can be, the best woman that I can be now. I've made mistakes in my past. I forgave myself. That was huge. In this transformation, you have to forgive yourself for your mistakes. You have to forgive yourself for the things that happened to you that other people did to you, because you still have to forgive yourself for either putting up with that or being exposed to it or getting into that situation. Then I forgave my counterpart and, really tried to look at things from their point of view. That helped because I realized, okay, something must be going on for things to be this way. And I realized too, once I forgave this person, that I couldn't fix them, that it wasn't me to help them or to help them grow or to get to this place where they could live in bliss every day and happiness. And that actually was like the turning point for me when I was explaining, and when I faced my truth, I had this conversation too, and kind of let everything out and was honest and said, I want to live in bliss and happiness every day and just live on those high vibrations. And the comment that I got back was that that's not the way to live and that's not possible. And I was like, that's untrue. That's untrue for me. If we look at stories of, and I actually quoted the Bible in that. I said, look at Jesus. Jesus loved with love and high vibration. And, that's a character from the Bible, or a story from the Bible, who I believe existed. And I was like, if this person who is a child of a creator could do it, then we were actually sent that. That's a message for us that we can do it too, that we can live this way as well. And so that became my primary focus, and my primary goal is to live happy, to live happy. So far, let's see what I've done. I found my space, really got in touch with myself, was honest, faced those feelings, wrote down in a journal everything. I looked at my life like if it was a movie. And when the end of the movie, it was not a happy ending. And I was like, okay, then that's not what I want my movie of my life or the story of my life to be. And how can I change this? And I made a pact to myself. I actually did a meditation to go back to visit your 5-year-old self, and the inner child that's within you, and all the promises that, or the things that I thought were going to happen in my life, I went back and I was like, I promised to be with you, and I promised to help you, and I promised to be your cheerleader, and I promised to make change. And when I did that, it was like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to wake up every day, no matter how hard it is, no matter how I may be feeling depressed or sad, or um, that there's no hope. I've got to change that. And I've got to say no, that I have to believe in my strength and know who I am and what I'm capable of, and live with that. I live with that every day. Now, what helps is diet and exercise. I stopped drinking alcohol, I stopped caffeine, and really I'm on I don't eat meat. So, but I hadn't been for a while now. I don't even know how long it's been. It's coming up, I think, on 2 years. It will be in January, December-ish, I believe. So I made those decisions. So I was already doing a good eating plan, but I really started exercising, I think, since around March 20th or so. I have to look back, that in my uh, calendar journal, when I started exercising. And that's what I did too. I made a calendar of things I wanted to do every day that I knew would help me. And I made symbols for them on each date. And it was meditation, it was drinking more water, because I wasn't drinking water at all. I mean, I was consisting my liquids on beer, I think, or wine, and Crystal Light, which I'm not saying anything bad about it, but it wasn't pure water. It's got preservatives and artificial ingredients in it. So I wanted water, I wanted meditation, I wanted exercise, and there was something else. And I think it was, trying to discover more research or things that I learn about myself. So it was really self-discovery. So meditation, self-discovery, drinking more water, and exercise. And I marked off, I wanted to do that every day and every day and every day. And so after a month, it really almost became habit, where I didn't need the calendar anymore. And I could see if I missed a day or whatever, I was like clearly marked. And that was a motivator for me. That was something I needed to do to get me in this pattern. And since then, with the exercise and the drinking water, all I drink now is water and fruit juice, and the most natural I can get, without sugars in it, nothing additives except the juice. And lucky in Hawaii, we can find that here. And I'm sure you can find it in natural food grocery stores. But I really am consisting now on water. I exercise every day. I stepped it up. I started at maybe, 7 minutes, really 5 to 7 minutes, where at first just doing something. And now I'm pretty much at like 30 to 40 minutes a day, nonstop. If I miss a day here, maybe 1 or 2 days a month is what it seems. Um, but I don't really, I just know I'm on a routine, and drinking water, meditate every day, and, try to do things for self-discovery. So after that, in the midst of this, so once the issue of wanting to end the relationship came out, I increased some things that I was doing that I hadn't been doing. Being an empath, I gave so much of myself. I mean, literally everything to other people. I gave everything of myself to this other person to make sure he was happy every day, made sure things went smooth. And even with all that, it was like these mood swings and everything, but that's a different story. The story I want to say is that when it became clear that I needed to get out of the relationship and want a divorce, that's when I started taking time for myself. And I was like, okay, what can I do to make myself feel better, take care of myself again, take care of my face, take care of my body, take care of my nails, or whatever it was that pedicure, that I could feel good doing. And that made me happy, doing things with my daughter, not feeling a time constraint or rush, just going out for the day to go out for the day, and not worry about, and only worry about what I want to do, which I hadn't done that in not even days of it for years. So I took time for myself, and while I was taking that, forgiveness is a constant thing, because what happened, now it's not anymore. I've totally forgiven myself and my ex-partner for whatever happened, and look to really the benefit and the beauty of what the relationship, the good things that were, and how far we got each other. And I'm thankful and grateful for those things. Um, but there was some aggression and some behaviors that I had to then realize that I cannot mirror. So I was mirroring the behaviors back to me. That's one thing I had to stop. If someone was victim and feeling low and down. So for me, it's like I tend to get that as an empath, and I was like, I gotta stop that. And then if it was aggression and fighting and selfishness, I was mirroring that and pulling that in. And my sister actually is the one who told me. I called her crying one day, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. I am still getting worked up in this feelings and this angst and this, from this other energy, and I'm trying to fight it. And she's like, you know what, you have to realize that whatever they are feeling, the sadness, the bitterness, the anger, that's being thrown at you or coming to you. And by you reacting in the same way, you're just falling into that pattern. And when she said that, and she's like, you actually have more control by not reacting. And she was right. It was like, she was absolutely right. It was like, okay, I can't react. I cannot um, pick up this anger or this aggression or this bitterness or selfishness, whatever I was getting. And I was like, I have the power and I have the strength to say no. And that's what I started doing. I just like, I'm going to live with love no matter what. I'm going to live with love. That's part of my, who I feel as is the best woman that I can be: love, kindness, and generosity. And I'm just going to do my things and not worry about that other person at all, and just go on and live my life. And I make a conscious effort to do that every day, and wake up every day as a new day. And every day I wake up and I write my gratitude journal, the things I'm grateful for. I speak to God, pray to God. I send out this good energy to the universe and ask for, say I'm ready for help or assistance if you want to give it to me. Strength, abundance, whatever. I'm ready for all those gifts. And that's how I live every day now. That is how. And I'll be honest with you. Are there times I had 10 years of a relationship with a narcissist, which was, as an empath, slowly beating down on my self-esteem. So will I say that I am 100% live every day all the time without feelings of doubt or fear? No, but I know the strategies that I need to use to face them, to understand them, and then to know that things are better. Things are already better. In this short amount of time, I have my independence back. I have my strength of self. I know who I am. I feel good. I feel starting to feel beautiful again. I'm seeing transformation in my body from the working out. And it's just, I'm finding, I guess I found myself again and who I'm supposed to be. And it's a wonderful thing. So, and then you also have to remember, the last thing I have to say in this is that, your counterpart or whoever is in sadness deserves happiness too, but it is not your responsibility to give it to them or to provide it for them. Okay, that's their journey. That's their journey with the creator. That's their journey with life and the universe. You have to focus on yourself, okay? But know that they deserve happiness too. I don't care how bad they've been or whatever. People don't, most people aren't born with this desire to be angry every day or resentful or worried or in doubt or whatever it is that, life has brought. So, have some compassion and empathy. And, that was part of me being, at the divine, embracing the divine feminine, is that compassion and empathy. And that's a strength in me. And I was ignoring that strength for a while because there was so much anger and aggression in the relationship. And I was like, I've got to go back to myself. So I hope this has helped. Again, a recap of what I did. I found a space to myself so that I could reflect. I opened my spiritual connection. I faced the truth and faced my feelings and was honest with myself. I started gratitude writing every day, a gratitude journal, uh, meditation. Let's see, looking at ways of how I could fix myself or grow. Actually got help for my hormone issue, but it turned out to be in the same cycle of time that the relationship was ending. Exercise and diet and forgiveness, and then just making the intention every day to live with love, kindness, and generosity in my thoughts, my words, my actions, and my deeds, to myself and to the others around me. So I hope this has helped you. It's really been what's been transforming for my life. And every day, this is like my thoughts. Every going into the day, I want to be a better person than I was the day before. I want to help people, and I want to fulfill my life's destiny or my soul's purpose. I hope this video finds you well and happy. If it doesn't, you can make the change. It just takes your mind to start. You have to make that decision in your mind, and then once you make that decision in your mind, you do everything possible to make changes in your life. I've given you some strategies or uh, things that I did. That's not all that's out there. Do some research, keep researching, look at what's out there, because there's so much available for free out there that you can use to improve yourself. I hope this has helped you, and I will sign off now and say aloha again, and have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, or evening.